started.
Ancora from Spain. Cool. So e4, let's try e5. Last time I played e5 we got a Ponziani opening, but maybe we'll get a more normal opening this time. Let's see what we get here. Yeah, the Ruy Lopez. Maybe I will play the old main line with bishop e7. Probably still the main line. That bishop c4 move that I play was popular for a while, but I haven't seen it so much recently. So let's kick the bishop back, defend the pawn, and castle. I think this is all normal. I was pausing to remember if there was anything funny about this move order, but I think this is the standard position. Okay, so I could take here. He never played h3. I can play the knight here. This is the Chigorin variation. Bishop goes back, and the pawn comes forward. It's been a while since I played this, actually. Trying to remember if it's ever an idea to play bishop g5. I mean, he never played h3 here to stop me from playing bishop g5, so I'm just wondering if that's an oversight. In fact, yeah, I think maybe he could have taken here. When I play this knight to h5 kicking the bishop, I really need to be able to play queen to c7 there at some point. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's do queen c7 now, defending the pawn. The pin can be broken, so it doesn't really stop that, unless I want to trade my bishop for the knight. So now if he takes, I can take back with the pawn and hold on to it. So yeah, I think I messed up that opening. We can look at that in the postmortem, see the right way to play the Ruy. Okay, so if he takes, well, the knight's defended there by the queen and also by the rook once I take back. But do I want to, if I move the knight, I mean the knight's kind of pinned after that. Let's start by taking a pawn here. And let's develop the bishop so that my rook is defended by the other rook, and now the knight can move away without hanging a pawn here. The knight moves, he takes, I take back, it exposes us, the rooks to each other, and so my rook needs to be defended. Yeah, so he's kind of kicking that knight, but I was thinking I wanted to play knight to c4 anyway, or knight back to c6. Knight c4 looks interesting. I think normally they do just take there. Although that gives up the h-file. Black ends up owning the h-file, I guess, in this case. So now maybe I could take on d4 here and play knight to e5 and put more pressure on the pinned knight. Okay, so he stopped that. He pushed his pawn forward, closing off the center. So let's pile up here. This is now a threat to take his knight and then win the bishop here. Okay, stopping to think about this. He could just drop the bishop back. I think that's not a problem. He moved the knight away. Okay, so his bishop is loose on c2. So I can move my knight with tempo. But do I have any really great squares to move it to? These are taken by my pieces. Here and here. Need some follow-up move. And then all of these moves, they don't really seem to lead anywhere. Okay, there's some other way to get pressure. Maybe drop this knight back or bring the knight forward. Maybe that's an idea. I'm getting the knight out of the way of the f-pawn, so I have the idea of playing f5 here maybe. With the center closed off, there's no attacks on this diagonal towards my king, so I think f5 can be played. He can kick the bishop here. Then I have to decide if I want to trade or retreat. And there may be ideas of knight f4, although I assume in this position he would just trade it off. So he came there with the knight. So now if I go knight f4, bishop takes, pawn takes, that knight has to move again. And I get this square for my knight. Looks kind of interesting. And I still, if I have some great tempo move with this knight, I'm waiting for that to show up because his bishop is still loose on c2 here. It's still here waiting to be exploited somehow. If he trades on f4 here, bishop takes, pawn takes, then actually I have knight to b2. That hits the queen, and it opens up the queen's attack, my queen's attack on c2, the bishop there. So that would be winning a piece, I think. But if I play it now, then okay. So he's getting rid of these ideas. He doesn't like it. So I can take this bishop with my knight and just be up the bishop pair. Have the bishop pair advantage. I guess I like that. Now, there's nothing great this knight is doing over here, is there? No discovered attacks. I could come back to b6, hitting this pawn. He pushes, and then I come over here to d7, make my way over to f6, come around that way, and get into the action on the king side. It seems like I should do that. I want to get this knight where it's doing something useful. I'm giving up a pawn here. I'm making lots of little mistakes recently. He has some weaknesses, though. He's got loose rooks there. Yeah, he's going after this. So pawn takes, queen here, hitting the two rooks. He can move the bishop, attacking my queen, and the two rooks defend each other. So that doesn't work. If I take the knight first, yeah, he took back with a pawn so that his queen could still take here. Now pawn takes, queen here to c3, forking the two rooks. Bishop moves and the rooks are protected. At least it's not with tempo, but then I have to save my knight somehow. Well, I should take, I guess. I didn't grab it. Okay. Well, he's hitting this pawn. He's hitting the bishop. It's a good square for the knight. I'm going to put my knight back there. So I realized my knight was doing a job there. It was indirectly defending the b-pawn. And let's see, I'm probably going to kick this knight away from that good square. Check. On he voluntarily retreated it. So now he's got a weakened king side. Maybe there's some way for me to exploit that. Yeah, he's going to put a rook on the g file. Makes sense. And it's just hard to get coordination going between the queen and my other pieces. Let's see if he wants to trade rooks. This might allow me to invade on the H file here. A file, rather. Because his rook was unprotected there. He could have defended it by moving the bishop. And now when the bishop moves, I have rook to A3, hitting the queen is an idea. So maybe queen F6 on rook A3 would be a plan. Now I can stop that with a pawn. Yeah, let's do that. Although that does stop my queen from going to F6. Goes there. Okay, so now let's bring the rook up. This queen needs to go back somehow. So my queen could go to D7 and then to H3 as a way of getting into the game, maybe. Okay, he wants to defend this pawn, understandably, so let's go here with the queen. He can place his rook up on G3. That would actually defend the F pawn. And he does that. Okay, so how about if I push this pawn forward then? Getting tricky. He could double on the G file here and threaten to sacrifice on G6. I would probably have to bring my queen in. Oh, that was what I was hoping. I was hoping he would take. So now I have pressure on F3. And what's funny is this, it started off as a closed position, and it's still lots of closed lines here, so we can't easily get to my back rank. But I have to be careful because a queen check on the back rank could be pretty devastating. It would drive my king here, and the queen could come here. Yeah, that would be mate. So mate in 2 if the queen shows up on the back rank, so I need to watch out for that. That's defended. If I push the pawn forward and he takes, then I can grab here on F2, hitting his rook. If his rook comes back, I have rook to here with check. So probably he can't take, but maybe he can just push forward. But then that opens up a square for my knight, doesn't it? Does it not? Okay, so he's coordinating there with the queen. trying to get to the back rank as I predicted here. So I can stop it with the queen or with the knight. But maybe you can win a pawn here. Trade queens and take, and yeah, we'll go into an endgame, and he's a pawn up, I think. I can activate my king though, so it's not entirely, not an entirely clear endgame. Knight versus bishop, huh? Well, maybe I shouldn't trade rooks after he takes. I should find another plan. I'm really expecting him to take the queen. I don't see any good moves that he has other than that, and it seems like it's good for white to do that trade, go into that endgame. I can check and play, yeah, there he goes. So I was going to take with the knight. And he can just take that pawn now. But these pawns are, anyway, I was trying to say I can check. Instead of trading rooks, I should probably keep the material on since I'm down a pawn. So check and rook b1 hitting this pawn. This bishop can defend it there. And I can go here to harass the bishop, or up here with the rook to harass it. Okay, so check.
Check.
Here. Careful I don't put my rook in the path of the bishop. Which should not be unlike me. Sort of thing I might do. So I'm expecting bishop to d2 there, defending the pawn. I don't see what other move he has. Just attacking my knight. Well, he might get a passed pawn that way, but, well, I will get a passed pawn too, so... Okay, yeah, just defending it. I can attack that pawn from this square, so I want to bring my king up to where I defend it. And then I'm going to place my rook on d4 here. Rook d4, stop that pawn from going forward. And start this pawn going forward. His king can't get any closer to the action here. Okay, so let's think about this before I push on. So if I push, he has to bring his rook over. I put my rook behind. Then he can bring his king in. I push, he brings his king in. That's going to be a losing king and pawn endgame for me, I guess. So I'm going to just stay pat here then. This is going to be an outside threat. But I have to go into that king and pawn endgame when I have a real chance of winning it. Pushing it through or distracting his king far enough away that I can win these pawns over here. That's the other way of playing it. Aha, he wants to go into this position. Well, this is not so clear, is it? Yeah, it's actually not good for me. Have to get in front of that pawn and stop it. Okay, so let's think again. This is the kind of situation you want to get into when you have even pawns. His king is further away from the pawns than I am, so I can stop his pawns and he might not be able to stop mine. So I push a pawn, he moves his king, I push here. And if he takes this way, I take back, he takes. That's no good. There's no breakthrough here. If I bring my king up, I can march my king 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's taking there. And I take here. And then, and then he queens with this pawn. I queen with this pawn. It's not looking good. Or if I push first. 1, 2. He takes this way. And I can push this way, so he has to take this way. But that's good enough. Now that's very frustrating. Let's see, if I step up with my king. He goes here. Yeah, let's go one step forward. Oh, I thought I had the opposition there. I was forgetting that he can step to that square. I was thinking we were one step back and he couldn't come in because of that pawn. Oh, that was really horrible. That was wretched. He's just going to eat up all those pawns now. Well, that's the thing about these this increment time controls. He can move fast enough to win here. Unless he... man, that's frustrating.
Check.
Okay, I'm going to resign here. There was just one more stalemate trick left I was going for.
Resigns.
Okay, I'll see you guys later. Bye.